also used to engrave some tiles. Laser engraved them using the, what they call the, I think it's the Nicky Norton white paint tile method or whatever, something like that. I've done quite a few of them. Actually, I've done a whole bunch of them now. One of the things you need to do, and this has not been cleaned, and neither has this one. These are just right off the laser. You need to take that paint off. Acetone, lacquer thinner, both work. And you'll see a lot of people will do that with a piece of steel wool or just a rag. And what if you need to do a lot of them? And I'm talking like 100. And that's what I need to do. Got 100 of these to do. Of course, I'm not going to show you how I'm going to wash all 100 of them. I'm going to show you how I do it in batches. And I'll also talk about a couple of mistakes here real quick coming up. Hi, I'm Roger. Welcome to the shop. What I'm going to cover here is cleaning tiles. If you're using the, I think it's called the Nicky Norton white tile method for laser engraving ceramic tiles. Buy these at home store. They're about 15 cents a piece or so. And real quick, the way it's done is you put a coat of white paint on it and you let that dry. And I do mean dry. Let it dry overnight, in fact. And you would also want to make sure your tile is completely clean before you start. And there's a whole bunch of videos on how to do this. A lot of people have done it, so I'm not going to go repeat what's already been done by everybody. I'm going to show a little bit about how to clean a whole lot of them at once and make things a little bit more efficient. For example, this here is engraved, but it's not. It still has paint on it. And I said I was going to talk about a couple of mistakes. I've got this kind of set up for mass production. I did another video on a spoil board template I made for my two 3018 lasers to be able to load and unload and do this quickly. And I do two sizes. I do the 4x4s. Well, I also do a 6x8. And if the graphic is small and stays within, let's say, the middle 80% of the tile, it works just fine. However, if you're trying to do the full size of the tile, even though it's centered on the board, this happens, it runs off top, it hits the limit and doesn't work. So bought another laser for doing bigger things. So we're going to get into that here in a future video. But so there's one mistake. I didn't really think about that when I loaded that graphic in. So you could see it got part way, got up to the top, hit the limit, stopped, and shut the whole thing down. So that one's ruined. These aren't expensive either. Okay, another mistake I made and I know better than this. The $32 setting in G-code needs to be set to 1 when you're doing laser engraving on one of these 3018 CNCs. If it's set to 0 and you're engraving with the CNC, the spindle, where you're cutting, when the spindle travels to the next spot, it stays running. Well, you don't want the laser to do that, because if it does, you'll end up with a whole bunch of lines in your graphic. Hopefully that'll focus on that. This one's full of lines, so this one's ruined. Oh well. At least I only screwed one of them up. The other thing I found out, and I accidentally loaded a tile that wasn't painted. Now, I don't know if the camera will show this or not, but the laser does actually engrave the glazing that's on the tile. Of course, you can't really see it unless you got your face right up to it, but I did notice that when I had loaded it, that one of them had got in there that hadn't been painted. And when I pulled it off, I thought, what in the world's going on here? You know, that was what the problem was. So, what do I need to do this cleaning with? Well, you can use acetone, you can use lacquer thinner. I happened upon a whole bunch of this, which is like lacquer thinner. It's reducer. It's from a defunct body shop, and this can's been around a long time, as you can see by the top of it. And I've used a little bit of this already, probably down to about yay. And I even have more of these, and no sense in me going out and buying lacquer thinner or acetone when I've got all this to use up. I I'm not even sure if that's exactly what's in here. I assume it is, but this was from a body shop that's no longer around, so there was nobody to ask. So maybe a combination of things. I know it's not straight lacquer thinner because it has a different scent to it. But I'm going to show you, it works perfect. Fine for this. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So what you're going to need is a container large enough to set several tiles in at once. I don't do the soak the rag and wipe and or steel wool, and it takes too long. I set the tiles in, let them set for a little bit, then I take a rag, pick them up, wipe it off, and then I've got another bath that I do a final rinse in. So you need containers. Now containers, you need to be careful what you're using because acetone or lacquer thinner or this reducer will eat through some things. You definitely don't want to use styrofoam, or you're going to instantly have a mess because it'll just dissolve and it'll be gone. And I saw somebody once try to measure some lacquer thinner with a styrofoam coffee cup, and it's actually pretty funny. I wish I had a video of that. If you like ice cream, these plastic ice cream containers, I use these for different types of finishes too around the shop here. I always save these. I use them for different types of varnishes and stains, and the lids seal very tight. This actually has some of this in it, and it's been in there for several days, and it hasn't even softened it up or anything, so that's fine. This works well for that. I wouldn't store it long term in one of these, but for doing the washing and the cleaning and that works fine. What I'm going to use to do these is a cake pan, 13 by 9 cake pan, that the finish in is bad, so wife's going to buy a new one, so I get the old one. So that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to go fetch that. And of course you're going to need gloves, because this stuff's kind of hard on your hands. It'll dry them out big time. And if you've got any little cuts or scrapes on your hands, you'll find them right away with this stuff. So be back in a minute when I get my cake pan. Okay, got my cake pan here. See the finish is coming off of it. Don't know why. It's not a name brand, so it's pretty cheapy. So wife wanted a new one anyway. What I've used before was what they call aluminum half steam table pans. You can get them at the dollar store, Wally World, or that's Walmart, or wherever you would happen to find that type of thing. And they work well too. Aluminum pie plates, disposable stuff, that works well. I would not leave it in that very long. In fact, when I get done here, I'll be pouring this into a different container. I won't just leave this panel. Well, it would evaporate anyway. But this stuff is highly flammable, and you don't want to have tons of them vapors around. So you want to use this in a fairly well ventilated area. I'm going to leave the garage door open here, even though it's kind of cool out there while I'm doing this. But I'm going to get this set up. I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so I got my cake pan here, and fly swatter is optional. I got a fly in here I'm really trying to catch. So I just take a bunch of these tiles, see how many I can put in here. So I can only get 4 in here at a time. Now I can't even get 4. It was a thought. So we'll start with 2. Of course, you want to have something protect whatever surface you're doing this on. Ideally, you should do this outdoors, but it's raining out there, and I don't want to go out in the rain and try to mess with this. And it's pretty chilly out there. So I'm going to pour enough in here, cover the tiles. So since I'm doing a lot of these, I can afford to use a lot of this. And then all you need is a rag or a towel or something. Find out if this takes the rest of that finish off of the cake pan. It may. You see that paint then just comes right off. And I have another rag here. I give it a little white. And it looks like that. And while I'm doing the other one, I'll set another one in here. This one was actually a little bit of a mistake. That square is not supposed to be around that. So I'll be doing that one over. So you can see how much quicker this is than trying to put some on a rag. And We're messing with steel wool or that type of thing. Yeah, see these black flecks in there, so I guess the rest of that cake pan coating is coming off with this. That's fine. It comes off very quickly this way. You can see there how the paint just bubbles up. So it's very easy to take off then. These will get a final cleaning with some another bath, but this gets the majority of it off very quickly. Okay, just made a discovery. These black Venom nitrile gloves do not like this reducer. It's dissolving them. As you see, I have no glove left. So need to get something a little stouter. Okay, so that's how I clean these tiles. And doing en masse, I just did, looks like about 20 of them. And I do them in small batches like that. Like I said previously, I was using the aluminum steam table pans. I was using a different type of glove before that were a lot thicker, but it was hard to get much dexterity with them. So I thought I'd try these nitrile gloves that I use with stains and varnishes and stuff. But as you saw, they don't last. So I guess I won't use those again. So that's all there is to cleaning these. If you like to see more about how I do this, or maybe what my settings are and that type of thing, leave something in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you got something out of this, and if you did, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. Otherwise, I'm Roger in the shop cleaning tiles. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.